Welcome to the Síle Show. Today I'm absolutely honoured to welcome a man who doesn't just draw faces, he's known to have dared, to all intents and purposes, to redraw his own entire life. Niall O Loughlin, Ireland's premier caricature artist and painter, a man who traded in the safe 9-to-5 creative role for the high-wire act of independent art and business. From his early days as a classical animator in Dublin, through to live event sketching at weddings, corporate gigs, and of course, his sterling reputation on television, Niall has etched his mark not only with speed and wit, for which he is so well known, by the way, but always with a pulse of authentic creativity. Now his prints of golf legends like Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry are flying off the shelves, selling like hotcakes, he says himself. A testament to his ability to capture personality, moment, and, in fact, a nation in one bold pen stroke. And yes, we are going to touch on that unforgettable Tony Holohan Superman moment when Niall's caricature became the talk of the egg market, proof that his work doesn't always just entertain, but on the rare occasion when it might cause even a little bit of disgruntlement, his professional maturity is well able to mitigate unsolicited negativity. Today we're going to explore like the chapters of his life. You know, the leaving the job leap, the sketching success, reinvention, the painting and caricaturing of Ireland's greatest, and of course, what's next for the doodle dynamo himself. Niall, you are so welcome to the Síle Show.
Thanks for having me.
This is amazing. I have been so excited at this conversation. So where to start? That's the issue. There's so many things we could start with. Could I ask you perhaps to take us back to those school days? We chatted just briefly the other day about when you were in school and deciding what career you'd have, and you got yourself that lovely 9-to-5 safe and secure job, but not to last for too long.
This was the animation job.
Yes.
Yeah, well, do you want me to go back to school or talk about when I left school?
Do please, yeah.
I was a disaster in school, like a complete disaster. I was that kid at the back. I always say I was the kid at the back of the class who did nothing else but doodle. And now I'm just an outfit who's still doodling. I was just constantly from the back of the copybook. I'd work my way to the front instead of, vice versa, as you're meant to do your work. Always in trouble with teachers for drawing, always. So school was not a good time for me. Like, I know but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
Academically, I was just constantly distracted. So I was the arty kid.
Yeah.
But I found my tribe. I found my meaning through art.
Yeah.
So as I got older, it was art that was my savior, I suppose. It made me from the geeky kid who got kind of bullied I had a purpose then. Yeah. It was like, oh, actually, he's all right. He's really good at art, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my savior in school, was art. It's always been that way.
Yes.
I suppose. You were asking me about animation, is it?
Yeah. So you went, when we chatted, you explained that to me, and I just thought it was so, you told it in such a light-hearted way, but it was clearly a very difficult time for you, really, until it took you then into this lovely job, which was quite ideal, really. 9-to-5 job, lots of security, doing the creative thing that you loved to do. But when you were there for a period of time, you found, I've kind of got more I want to explore.
Well, I suppose animation was... Actually, can I tell you this really quickly?
Yeah,
how it happened, because this is really interesting. Is that I was 15 years of age and I was really good at art. And one day, this video called "Take on Me" by Ahad, you know it?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it came on MTV USA or whatever, and I remember watching it, and it was like this awakening moment in me. It was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. And the trouble is, most people now, even into the 20s, don't know what they do. I knew from 15, the second I saw that video, that that's what I wanted to do. So that gave me a purpose, it gave me a goal, it gave me and by the way, I still love that band to this day, but that's another story completely. So it gave me a purpose, gave me a goal, and that's what I pursued. I went on to Ballyfermot to do animation. I traveled around the world with it. I worked on different feature films. I did a thing called Give Up Your L Sins.
Yes,
have you ever heard of that?
I did indeed.
I was responsible for a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I often joke with the guys in Brown Bag who made it that they said they're the reason I gave up animation. I was kind of just burnt out after that. But the industry was changing and animation was becoming 3D. It's like almost like a transition kind of thing. So it was going from 2D, which I did, to 3D. And now it's going from kind of 3D to AI. So it's like it's almost come full circle again. So I came home one day and said to my wife, I've got this idea. She was pregnant at the time. I love telling this story because it's true, but it wasn't great time. And I said, I have this idea. I want to go out and do this, become a caricaturist. And she's just looking at me like, okay. I was like, it'll work. Trust me, it'll work. It didn't work. Well, no, it did, but it didn't work for years. And I think we were chatting, I wanted to emphasize the fact that I had this vision. I had this kind of thing I wanted to do. And I followed it. But it was tough, like really tough, because there was nobody at the time. There was no business model, if you know what I mean. There was like, I had this idea, but I didn't really know what I was like, how to actually do it. So I had to come up with a plan of how, and it gradually just kind of came out of, I did a friend's wedding because I didn't have any money to buy him a present. So I said, how about I draw guests at your wedding? And that's how the whole caricature thing started at weddings.
Ingenious.
Like people loved it. I had done my own wedding invitations and stuff. And then I went, you know what, maybe other people would like wedding invitations. So I started doing wedding invitations. And then slowly I started doing wedding fairs, and then it started to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And it's still, believe it or not, it's still growing. It's even after all these years, because so few of us can do what I do, it's still a huge thing, you know, but whether it's the illustrations at weddings, you know, the kind of more fashion ones, or the caricatures, it's just huge and still growing.
Of course it is. So you were trailblazing your own path at the time.
Didn't realise it, but yeah.
Absolutely. And have many people followed suit, do you think?
There's still not that many. You know, there's 5 or 6 maybe in Ireland that are doing it now, which is brilliant because, to be honest with you, there's like loads of weddings and, you know, you can only do so many. So, I mean, it's great that they're doing it. I mean, sometimes, it annoys you that you might have, whatever, they got a gig and you didn't. But, you know, that's life and that's good.
It is, but we have to look at it from a positive perspective and see that it's a little bit like going to the ocean with your bucket to take the water. You're not going to deplete the resources. Exactly. There's plenty for everybody. Yeah. But I think when you chatted about, you know, going from that moment in school where you just realise, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. This isn't really for this system. I'm not plugging and playing very well in this system. Then you had your passion. You made it a plan. You got the 9 to 5, but you weren't there too long before you had a fire in your belly again to do more. I think that's a really important conversation to have nowadays as well. And we're exactly the same age, actually. So
are you 45 as well?
I'm 25. Are you getting it wrong?
I knew you were.
So the 1970 babies. And I think it's really important for youngsters to hear nowadays because, you know, I think people in their 20s are struggling and panicking and thinking that they've missed the boat if they don't know exactly what they want to do, you know, if they're not married, because we lived in a different era. We were all married early, in our early 20s. We all had our degree done, our undergrad done by the time we were 19, 20, driving test passed, you know, deposit on a house. They were different times. Yeah. And I fear for the youngsters, our children who are of an age as well, who think in their 20s, if they don't have all of that done as well, that they've missed the boat, and not the case. And that's why I absolutely love your story, because it's so real still today. You don't have to know. I mean, you can learn in your 20s and earn in your 30s from what you learn in your 20s. You can learn in your 30s and reinvent in your 40s, which is really what you're epitomizing in this story.
Absolutely. I agree. I think they were completely different times. In fact, in some ways, it was a lot harder in terms of there was no social media. So trying to get your name out there was very difficult. I think from that sense, it's easier now. The other side of that is that everybody's trying to get their name out there. So you're competing against, you know, that kind of side of it. But I suppose the message is that it was like, I started off doing this, and to think it's like 25 years ago, I started working for myself. And I kind of went, even back then, I knew it was like, you know yourself how quickly time goes. I mean, you don't realize it when you're younger because you think, you've got forever. Like it's just, you don't think about things like that, and nor should you. But I just didn't want to look back and think I sat in an office for 20 years, just wishing I'd followed my dream. Because I meet people because I would meet maybe 100 people a week that I draw at various events and stuff. And the one thing that they all say to me is how, is how lucky I am to be doing something that I love doing. I hear that over and over and over again. And that tells me that I made the right decision because I have no regrets. I've like literally no regrets. It's like every day I get up, and actually another thing people ask me is, do I love what I do? Do I still love what I do? And I say to them, well, what do you think? Rather than me telling you, what do you think? Because you've been sitting here with me for the last 10 minutes while I'm drawing you. Like, what do you, and they go, we can tell you love it. I said, well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
So that says a lot, doesn't it? Because I still absolutely love what I do.
Yeah.
Even after all these years, every time I go out, I'm sitting there drawing and I'm in my element.
Yeah.
But you have to be.
Yes.
Because people aren't stupid. They'll know if you're just going through the motions.
Sure. And nervous systems link and sync. So when you're sitting with somebody drawing them, you don't have to become their best friend. But in order to find your creativity and for that to flow, you have this, I mean, we chatted about your dry wit. You have a way with you, which is coming out in your caricatures as well. You have all of these different iterations of you and genres in which you can speak with one stroke of the pen. But if you didn't love what you do, if you're having an off day, which you're quite entitled to have, you're right. People would pick up on that. Now, they may not run with that as the fait accompli of you in your work. You have that lovely caricature of you saying, and yes, this is the real job, which I think
you left out the F and bit, but anyway, rightly so.
A family show. But I think that's a great one.
But another element of it is that what people don't realise about what I do is that when I sit down in front of people, and they're really shocked by this, and I don't know where this came from because you can't teach this, but I can tell everything about somebody, like everything. I can tell them all about their personalities. And I'm not exaggerating. Well, I do exaggerate because that's what I do. But I can tell so much about them within 10 seconds of meeting them, from the way they look at me, from what they first say, the way they introduce themselves. So it's like you were talking about off day or, I can read people so well. And that's something you can't teach. So you might think, you're just sitting down to do a caricature, so you're just looking at somebody and you're just drawing what you see. But it's so much more than that. To be good at it, you've really got to drag their personality out. And when you say about my wit and stuff and so on, certain things that I'll say and you'll see how they react.
Yeah.
You'll know what you can get away with. You'll know how far you can push it just by the way they react.
Yeah.
And you pick up on that so quickly that this one's great crack, or you just got to hold back on this one.
Yeah.
And that's something, I don't know if you can teach that. It's kind of just something you have instinctively, just reading people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's an element of both in it, Niall.
I'd say you're good at that.
Yeah, well, I'm a psychotherapist, so
okay.
I was a teacher for 30 years.
But there's no fooling you.
No, there isn't.
Oh, well, I wouldn't. I would think so. Yeah, that you can pretty much sum somebody up pretty quickly.
And it is actually very simple, really. It's literally that in the vitality of me and the vitality of you, we're in a field, an energy field, and those energy fields don't take long to sync together. And as they do, then you become aware of the other person and you're able to read the nuance. And it's really helpful because it just means that you can turn your centre away from energy fields that don't grow you, but you can still be physically present.
Interesting.
And it's very important. But when energy systems sync and link in a way that's helpful and full of vitality, it's a great space to be in. And if art then is your medium of expression, you're going to be amazing. Or if chatting and helping somebody to troubleshoot their issues, which is my area of expertise, then you're going to be amazing. But again, it's because in that space, you've just waited. And it's not really measurable just in linear time. It's just a wait energetically to see, let's see where we go here now. Let's see how close these energy systems can sync and where can we take that. I think it's probably a different art form, but speaking the same language. And you're going to be picking up the nuance in people's expression and, that little wry smile or the full smile, the eyes are dancing or not. We can see in your work that that's what you do. You'll exaggerate then whatever part stands out to you.
Sure.
So tell me about that. How do you choose what part of the personality to exaggerate?
I get asked that a lot. There's a cliche that people think it's like, the big nose, the big this, the big that. It's like, it's Do you know what it is? I compare it to Tinder dating, even though I'm way past that and I've never been on the app in my life, honestly, swear to God. No, I really haven't, but I've heard the concept is that you look at a photo of somebody and that you look at it and you swipe. So if you like what you see, I think that's the basic. So you swipe left, swipe right, whatever, and so on. So I think everybody does it. It's just something we do instinctively. Somebody walks into an office, okay, you have never met them before, and a fella walks in, the new guy or whatever, there might be a bunch of girls in the corner. I know it's cliche and it's, maybe you can't say things like that anymore, that the girls might go, look at your man. Do you know what I mean? Or the fellas go, look at your one. Like, it's just human nature. We look at people and we make instant decisions about them. We just do. It's what we do. We've always done it and we always will do it. And that's exactly what it is. So when somebody sits down in front of me, it's like, what is it about that person? And it doesn't have to be anything in particular, because the cliches are that, as I said at the start, it's not that, it's what hits me about this person. So to give you an example, I can draw any woman in the world, no matter how, and I don't like using the word good looking because looks are subjective. What I think is good looking, somebody else might. So somebody who's attractive, say, okay, or, stereotypically attractive, no matter how, I can draw her. Whereas if a man sits down who's got a very symmetrical kind of face with no outstanding features, I will really struggle. Whereas a woman might have big eyes or big lips or something, and I always get her. But to go back to what I was saying, it's just what hits you about that person. So it's shapes. So, it's all shapes, the shape of the face. Everybody's got a different shape face, long faces, round faces, square faces. So you kind of look at the overall shape of the face, and then it's what stands out. And everybody's got something. Whether it's the mouth is so important, whether it's the smile, the shape of the mouth, the shape of the eyes, the overall shape of the hair. Like, it's just what hits you about them. And that's the most fascinating thing about my job, is that I think with animation I was getting bored because it was repetitive and it was just kind of boring because you're doing the same stuff. Whereas this suits me perfect because I draw two people, usually couples or whatever. They sit down, have a chat with them. And by the time they're done, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on. And the next people sit down and you see them sitting down, you're looking at them and you go, they sit down, you just look at them and you go, here we go again.
Yeah.
But it's like two completely different people. And I just find that to this day, because everybody's got two eyes, well, most people, a nose, a mouth, ears and hair. Some people have hair, some don't, obviously. So it's like, it's just fascinating how everybody has the same things that make up their face, but they're just so completely different. Even people say, oh, they bring over their identical twins. To me, they're so far from identical. I don't think maybe once I was like, but to me, they look completely different. And I'd be telling the parents they're so different. They're like, no, they're not. And I'm like, they are.
Yeah. You're reading the energy, the vibrational offering
of that person. It's just different. Everybody's different.
You can see the differences,
100%. So that's what it is. It's not it's what hits you about them. And that's really what it is. And people say, but I couldn't do that. But everybody does it.
Yeah.
Everybody does it every single day. Every time they go to the shops, they do it. Because if something happened in a shop where say somebody gave you the wrong change and you went home and said, oh, she left me short. And they go, who was on the till? You go, oh, well, she was a woman. She had her hair like this. Constantly picking up.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. You'd be able to describe her. Well, just describe her features. Like, she had a big smile and she had red hair. And so, you know what I mean? You're subconsciously constantly looking at people.
Yeah.
And so it's just the fact that I can draw.
Yes.
And I'm able to put that into drawing form. That's the difference, I guess.
Yes, of course. A word of heartfelt thanks. In just a few weeks since we launched the Síle show, over 250,000 people have tuned in to listen to the show. This is the engagement that we aspired to from the get-go, and we are beyond grateful to be riding this amazing wave of support and interest in our content. To our guests, thank you so much for showing up, for putting your trust in us and for sharing your truth so candidly. And to you, our cherished listeners, thank you for coming back, for sharing and for letting this space matter. Now here's the ask. We need to turn that love into subscribers so that we can keep bringing you these life-changing stories. And to show our appreciation, we're giving something back. Prizes for Subscribers is an initiative to encourage and celebrate engagement and interaction with the Síle show. Subscribe to our YouTube and or Spotify channels. Follow The Síle Show on any or all platforms, and we will choose a weekly winner across all access points. Winners will receive a fabulous gift bag of stunning beauty goodies from our super sponsor, Eclipse. Obviously, the more involvement you have with all the channels and platforms, the greater your chance of being the lucky winner. All we ask when you receive the gift is to post a story or a reel, tag us, and tell the world why you love the show and how you're using the products. The Síle Show is proudly sponsored by Eclipse Skincare. Pure, powerful, Irish made. In the interim, you can use the code Síle10, that's SILE10, for 10% off all orders online. Follow, subscribe, and share the vibe. When did you know you could do that? Knee high.
Yeah, I was in school drawing teachers and students and stuff just to pass the time. And they'd find they'd all look, and the classmates used to love it, and the teachers be like,
Yes.
But yeah, literally was always drawing. But saying that, every kid draws. Do you know what I mean? Even today, there's very few kids that don't draw. So it doesn't make you stand out when you're young, because everybody's drawn. Do you know what I mean? And then they gradually move on to different things. I just didn't. I just didn't.
But it's a very unique talent as well. You can hone it, like all talents.
Oh, you can.
You can hone it, of course, and with technology nowadays, which I'd love to chat with you about. But also, there is a God-given natural inclination to be really good at some things, and you're really good at art. And other people, whilst you'll be very complimentary and say, everybody can draw, and I know you've done some teaching in your time as well, but not everybody can draw, really, to the extent that you can, or that artists can, or that people that produce. Obviously, we can look at everything and appreciate it. But I think it's one of those times when what you appreciate doesn't necessarily appreciate. Sometimes we're just appreciating it because we're mannerly, or we're looking to be a little bit intrigued by whatever it is somebody drew. Is it representing how they're feeling? But it won't always be the fait accompli, the finished product that yours will be.
Well, no, I agree with that, even though I've had arguments with other artists about it, because some artists think that everybody can learn how to draw. And yeah, they can. But to me, it's a bit like everybody can learn how to play football, or everybody can learn to sing or whatever. But, not everybody can play football like Ronaldo and Messi, the cliche ones.
Yeah.
Not everybody can sing they just can't, no matter how hard they try. So I think you have to have something.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with that something. That's what's important, because if you even take the football analogy, the art analogy, there was people in college who were better than me, much better than me, but I was just more driven.
Yeah.
I think I wanted it more. You have to want it.
Yes.
You have to develop your talent. If I didn't draw for a couple of months, I'd probably get rusty. And, honestly, you have to keep, it's like you have to keep at it. And the good thing about art is that the more you do it, the better you get. And age is not necessarily a restriction either, because you actually just keep getting better and better and better and better. Your hand-eye coordination gets better and better the more you do it.
Of course, and your neural architecture is improving with neuroplasticity all the time. Like that, it's not one trial learning. It's not do it once and know that you're great and that to be the benchmark forever.
No.
You're building it like Minecraft.
If you ever think you're great, you should give up.
Yes.
Honestly, if I ever thought I was a brilliant artist, I would need to give it up and do something else. Because if I thought I was if I had nothing left to learn, it'd be like...
Yeah.
And people go, surely you're as good as you... No. And I even look back at stuff I did from a year ago and go, I could do so much better than that.
Yeah.
Constantly pushing yourself.
But it's
constantly.
Of course. And it's like even going to the gym and building your muscles. The more you go to the gym, the stronger you'll get, and the more your body recomposition will be evident to you and to others. And like that, you're using the neural architecture in the same way. It's like a muscle that you're building and becoming better at your craft and looking at new ways of doing things.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about technology now? Has that changed everything?
Oh, that's a bit of a minefield. Yes and no. I do a lot of my work on the iPad now. So a lot of events, corporate events, would book me to draw on the iPad. And the one question again, people ask when you're doing a caricature on the iPad or an illustration, they go, "Is it easier on the iPad?" And I go, "Absolutely not," because unless you have the core drawing skills, and you're using technology and drawing and trying to pick pens, it's actually harder. So, but it has made me a better artist in terms of using technology with the art. But but they combine quite well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one kind of complements the other kind of, you know. But I do fear for that because you can see it already with AI and stuff, even though I've started to touch on AI, you know, for little animation things and stuff, which it's a whole other thing. I have a problem with it. But I think the core is you need to learn your trade.
Yeah.
You need to learn your trade. And I think that everybody's just going to find the lazy way to do it. And that's what really worries me, is that people just can bypass all the skills that you need to learn to be a good artist. They just bypass it because technology will do it for you. And that's my fear for the future with technology, is that everybody's trying to get the quick way to the top. So you see this stuff, amazing finished artwork online on Instagram, TikTok or whatever. And I just look at it and go, they didn't draw it. They didn't draw it. And I won't go into it because I'll get myself into trouble. But there's so many people who are doing these amazing things, paintings and stuff and so on. They're not drawing them.
Yeah.
They're not drawing them. Like they're using either kind of camera tracing techniques or whatever and so on. I can spot it a mile away, like a mile away.
And tell me this
now. But people can't.
Yeah, people can't. Does it offend you personally, or are you taking on, you know, the mantle of the craft that is art in essence, the art that you practiced as a little boy before we had the technology available to us? Or are you just noticing and witnessing rather than judging?
I'm not saying I'm judging. I'm kind of glad that I kind of grew up in the time that I did, in terms of having to learn the hard way. But my gut feeling on it is, and I really believe this, you could come back to me in a few years and I could be completely wrong. But I think with all the stuff that you see online, the AI caricatures, the AI this, the AI that, I think people, first of all, it shows that people actually love creating funny images and cartoons and different things and so on. So there's still an interest in it from that point of view. But my genuine belief is that real artists are just going to come to the top more so than ever before. Now, I have to believe that, but I really believe that, because I think people are just going to get so sick because people don't know what's real anymore.
Yeah.
Even videos, take aside from art, videos of people falling off this or they're like AI generated. People are just not going to know what's real and what's not anymore. And I think that if somebody sits down, and I often record my paintings because people will actually say, you didn't paint that, that's AI. So what I do is I set up a camera from the start and time lapse me actually drawing it, because people will not believe.
Yeah.
I think real artists will rise to the top.
Yeah.
I think real music will rise to the top. I think real art will actually become more valuable, more in demand. And I can actually see it already a little bit, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be people's just going to get so sick of it.
Yeah, I know.
So sick of it. Could be wrong. But who wants an AI picture hanging on their wall? Where's the soul? You want to see the mistakes in it. Like, I mean, I think to create something perfect, I think to create something with imperfections, with personality, you should be able to look at somebody's work and know who the artist was. Yeah. And that's going to be lost with AI. You know what I mean? I think because it's just going to be so generic.
Yeah.
Boring.
I love that idea, and I love the whole idea of being beautifully unfinished. Everything really is beautifully unfinished.
Don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, and I also love the fact that you said, I don't know. You could come back in a few years and I might have changed my mind. But the thing is, isn't it lovely though to be able to say, I don't know? Because I think the people that aren't able to say they don't know really don't know. We have to.
But I really don't know.
Yeah, but because we don't know.
No.
But with the wisdom and knowledge we have right now, we'll bring the best of ourselves to the situation and we'll observe it as best we can from whence we stand you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. Yeah. So from your position as the amazing artist, technology is coming on board, you'll use it for what works for you.
Absolutely.
But you're absolutely separating the fact that that's not the thing though. The thing is the talent and the original.
Yeah, it's the ideas as well. I mean, that's a big part of it. I mean, a lot of stuff I do comes from my head. Like, it doesn't come from AI. So it just comes from my head. And I can see even online, even now, actually, when I post stuff, it's actually becoming more popular rather than less popular when I do like an editorial cartoon, or I do something satirical or something topical, because somebody could have done it in AI, but it just doesn't have the same impact.
I know.
It just doesn't, as if you just kind of. So I think that goes back to everything like creativity in terms of music, in terms of movies and stuff and so on. Like people, like we grew up in the year, and even now, bands, these, I mean, I'm actually love to see these Irish bands coming through. Like, it's real music, real people, real talent, real songwriting. In fact, if you actually look at it, they're becoming more popular. People are going back to bands. Yes. They're going back to this kind of, music that's just simple and, like take Kingfisher or something like that. I mean, it's you can tell it's from the heart. Yeah. It's written by a human. It's sang by, and I actually think, goes back to what I said, I think there's a reason stuff like that's becoming more popular is because it's real.
And I agree with you. And we're probably, you see, we're living now through those rivers of change. So we're not sure where it's going to go, but give it a little bit more chronological time and it will have, the blister will have happened and we'll all be healing then again. And as you say, closing the circle. And so in the words of T.S. Eliot, we will not cease from exploration, and at the end of all of our exploring, we will go back and see it as if it was for the first time. And I think that's true of everything.
I think it's happening now. Yeah. I think we're right in the middle of it now, though. Yeah. Like literally right in the middle of this AI boom.
Sure. So that's why we don't know.
Exactly.
There's no precedent for this.
No, we don't.
So we're in those rivers of change. On the subject of rivers of change, when you came into your iteration of yourself after those tough 3 years, and I think that was an important benchmark as well, and it's a lovely share to say, if you decide to do this, give it time. It's a bit of a tightrope walk, but give it time. Bring your passion and your plan and sit with it, like I suppose nearly like a pregnancy. You have to wait until the term is ready to birth the new you in all of its greatness. And then you've been doing this now for all of these years. Will you continue in the same vein, or have you noticed in the last few years, I suppose from the point of view of chronological age and biological age and health and wellness, has anything changed for you recently?
In terms of, I suppose my kids are older now. I've got a little bit more freedom, so I've got a little bit more time for myself. Not as much as I'd like in terms of, I still have to be working quite a lot. But if you mean in terms of what I see going forward, I would like to paint more. It's something, if I said I didn't have any regrets. If I did have regrets, it would be that I love painting. So, I love getting the canvas out, the oils, the acrylics, whatever. I would love to have more time to do that. Yeah. Saying that, I'd miss doing the events because they're a social thing. You're in the office all week. You know what? I think over the last few years since COVID, actually, I've kind of got a lot healthier. I give more time to myself to try and exercise more. And I think I actually feel 5 years ago, if you'd asked me that question, I just couldn't wait to kind of just retire and get to the office. And I seem to have this new energy now that I'm dreading the fact actually of finishing up live events. Like I love going out. Like if you asked me 5 years ago, I was exhausted. I was like, not sure how much more I can do this. And now I'm kind of thinking to myself, oh my God, imagine I was too old to go to a gig or a wedding, so on. Because I'm actually doing it with my son now, which is incredible.
Oh, fantastic. Is he an artist as well?
That son, that baby my wife was pregnant with a baby, I put that really badly. He's now 25 and he was working with me last week at an event and he's working with me over the Christmas and he's sitting beside me doing events with me.
Oh my goodness. So he's an artist as well. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's really good.
Amazing.
Scarily good. He's younger, obviously. He's better looking. He's taller. He's got a full head of hair. He's got everything going for him. And it's like he's sitting there beside me and it's fantastic.
I love that.
It's kind of like, it'd be nice maybe kind of, well, I already am kind of pushing stuff towards him and stuff and so on. But I'm not ready to retire yet.
No, of course
Definitely not, no.
No. Well, and it doesn't matter, it's never, we don't have to retire at any certain age, and even if we're not out earning a crust because we need to, like in the morning of our lives, we have to do the house thing and, we have to look after the children and get them on all the school tours and make it available for the children. Yeah. And then in the afternoon of your life, you don't have to retire as such.
Are we in the afternoon?
Well, I think we're certainly dalliancing around, teetering at the edges of. But it's a concept and a mindset.
Late evening,
yeah. Well, but the
autumn
thing is,
years.
I wouldn't say we're in
No, we're
autumn
definitely
years.
not
I
autumn
don't
years
think
yet.
autumn
No,
years.
no.
And I think all of that, though, is really relevant in terms of what you said about exercising and taking time back for yourself. It's not to the exclusion of anything else. It's not to the
No, it's
exclusion of
not.
family. It's just a different time space. You can now, because when the children are smaller, you're on
No,
the
you
road
couldn't.
morning, noon and night. You're earning as much money as you can.
Yeah.
It's never really for yourself. And if anything has to take a back seat, it's going to be your own health and wellness.
And it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was. For sure.
And then, of course,
Yeah.
exercising in its own right. I mean, if we look at the four legs on the stool that you probably sit on doing your painting, if we have sleep, nutrition, activity, and managing stress levels down, we're on a solid sitting. You know,
Yeah.
we're okay, we're good to go. But we can't always get that when the kids are younger. You know, it's hard to manage stress when the children are bringing in their stress and you're helping them to manage their
Oh, they're
emotional
still bringing
systems.
in the stress. Don't worry. They're still bringing in the stress. Four of them at home, yeah.
Yeah.
There's still that. But it's a different, they're able to look after themselves
Sure.
now. And they're
Yeah.
working and stuff and so on. So it's
It's a different chapter. It is a
Yeah.
different chapter. And have you found that going to the gym, for example, and taking time for yourself has changed your personality?
my wife said something to me the other day. It's you know what, it's made me more confident. It's made me stand taller. I used to slouch, slouch. Actually, I was at a thing in England last week and they hadn't seen me in a couple of years. And the one thing they all asked me is like, have you got taller? I stand straighter. So from that point of view, it's given me more confidence. But I think it's a mental thing, isn't it? Exercise is a mental thing. Like I don't go to the gym to, because my young fella goes to the gym and he bodybuilds and he does all that kind of stuff. But when you get to our age, my age, it's a completely different thing. You're not going to the gym so you can, have big muscles and, walk around and,
Yeah.
it's completely different. I do it so that I can jump out of bed in the morning. To be not being crude, but to get up off the toilet.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Honestly, it's like just the simple things, and it's made such a difference to me physically and mentally. And I actually didn't realize the effect it had mentally is actually huge, because you feel like you're getting old. Your body is starting to get old, but it's so much of it's in your head.
Yeah.
Like you can reverse all that like so easily just by, and it's nothing major.
No, it's just show up.
It's just show up and do a few little kind of,
Yeah.
do a few sit-ups, do a few press-ups, do a few little kind of just.
Yeah, it's just counteracting atrophy, which is normal.
And
It's bringing on the hypertrophy, which takes a little bit of effort. But if it's effort-led in the beginning, it becomes quite natural
makes
then.
such a difference. You go to the gym, do you?
I don't actually at the moment, but I would do. And just so to be really honest, no, I don't at the moment. But I totally believe in it. I endorse it. I walk. I just walk. That's what I do at the moment.
Yeah.
But I do believe, I know that we're in an age of awareness and there's emerging evidence about the efficacy of weightlifting.
Yeah.
Particularly in
I hear
mid-years.
that a lot on the radio now because you lose, getting technical, you lose muscle mass in your 50s and all that.
Yeah, we do. And, we're big walking endocrine organs. And for men as much, like menopause is having its moment. In fact, we're probably post the menopause moment as such. No, but but andropause is real. Andropause.
Help me out with that one.
Well, andropause is, again, I feel this could be our Carlsberg moment now on the Síle show. So we had the big drive time moment when menopause was, so Joe Duffy did a wonderful thing for menopause and he threw it out there and encouraged us all to take it seriously. So that was kind of like our Emerald Isle version of what Davina McCall was doing in the UK. And we all paid attention. And we have Meno halos on everything now. And so therefore things cost 4 times more if you stick the Meno halo in front of it. Even your pajamas, you can have Meno pajamas and everything now. There's a cartoon for you. But we have andropause to pay attention to. So andropause is a similar thing for men.
For men.
And it's, but why?
Well, I definitely have that.
Well, but I wonder, but Niall, I wonder listening to, because when we were chatting the other day, I was intrigued and enthralled at the natural way you were able to say, how going to the gym has changed your perspective. And you mentioned that walking taller. So as a psychotherapist, I'm reading that and I'm reading beyond that to see, I'm so happy for you that you have happened upon that you didn't first, hit a wall to change direction. You actually changed direction and realize I like this. So that's actually changing your personality, which is changing your personal reality. your personality, you had said, I was beginning to feel tired. My body was beginning to ache a little. I didn't have that bounce from the chair to my standing position.
I didn't.
And because, but it didn't take long to get those knees repaired and build some muscle around the knees and the hips. And so the structure of you became stronger because you were lifting your weights. And as you lift your weights, it has all of a chemical effect on your body to tell everything, oh, hey, listen, we're going to be around for a while longer. Let's start working better. And andropause is a time in men's lives, I think, when, I would work on, the psychogenic aspect of a lot of things in men's sexual health, for example, that's very unfortunate for them. And they don't know which comes first, depression or erectile dysfunction, for example. And it's not something that's as talked about as all of the menopause issues. But I think the time will come when it will be, because it's just as important. And very often, situations like that are what bring people to somebody like me, but they wouldn't dare go to a men's health clinic because they'd be quite embarrassed, and they should, because everything is very rectifiable, really. And this is the time, I think, in our lives when if we go to the gym, we get stronger and healthier. So you clear the cobwebs from your brain and your body just starts to work better. So there's that confidence kicking back in, but you mightn't have put two and two together.
Yeah.
And, it's a very important time in our lives to just pay attention to if I'm fatigued, if I have low libido, if I'm sad and I don't really know why, if I've lost my mojo and I'm not really, I can't wait to retire. That's not okay at 50. Because
55.
I know, but you were saying about 5 years ago,
yeah.
Here you are now at 55 and you're thinking differently, acting differently and feeling differently.
I'm still grumpy though.
I think some of that's contrived. I think some of that's...
I am.
Are you actually a grumpy man? Are you a victim elder, really?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah. I think I am, yeah. No, I am. I can just hear my wife watching this going, yeah, he is.
Are you actually?
I don't know, yeah. I mean, I think I'm a bit grumpy, yeah.
Bit grumpy. So tell me about that. How does that... Is that because... But are you less grumpy now that you're feeling better about yourself? And
no, I think I'm more grumpy. No, it's not grumpy. I'm just...
That's your personality type then,
I think
is it?
it is, yeah. I like giving out.
Yeah.
I'm happy when I'm giving out about things.
Yeah.
But not, kind of almost sort of in a humorous type of way.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
it's your
I
dry
know
wit.
I'm being grumpy,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But yeah, don't get me in the mornings, or before coffee or anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, not a morning person.
No, I mean, as I said, I project an image outside the house. I think that's what they laugh at, the kids and stuff. And then, I can be grumpy, definitely can be grumpy. I got to hold my hands up to that one.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Is it a tongue-in-cheek? Is it because when we look at your artwork as well? I mean, the Tony Holohan moment. I mean, hilarious. Although it wasn't all. I mean, there was flack after that, wasn't there? It wasn't all just not entertaining. It actually became a little bit challenging at one point.
Oh yeah. Didn't know we were going to talk about that.
I know. Well, the tongue-in-cheek aspect.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I suppose that was a big COVID thing. One of those things that I was asked to do, by the way. I mean, I do get a lot of flack about it. But I mean, we just got into COVID. Somebody asked me to do this mural thing on a wall of a pub, and they were paying me to do it. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I mean, at the time, it was all, I think on reflection, probably, I don't know how it's not going to age well, really, in terms of COVID and stuff and so on.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm tracking. Do you mean the piece of art or the whole COVID, what we did with COVID as a nation?
I think, I mean, I have huge issues with the whole COVID thing. I really do. And I really do. I mean, I suppose I haven't spoke about this, but I wouldn't say I almost died. That might be too dramatic, but I had a very, very serious reaction to COVID vaccination, which I didn't want to get in the first place. Ended up in a hospital, very sick.
Yeah.
So I have a real issue with the whole COVID thing, and I felt I was kind of not forced into getting it. But I remember you couldn't even buy a coffee if you didn't have your thing. So I think I haven't spoke about that before. I think that anything kind of COVID related now, to me, the whole thing with that's where I have a real issue with it all. Just the whole thing. I'm just kind of want to distance myself from it a little bit in terms of, you know.
It's a pattern match to something that was very emotionally arousing for you at the time. And
yeah, well, people say, oh, you did that Tony Holland picture, you're glorifying him as a superhero, but it was like, they don't know the backstory behind it. Like, I mean, it was done as a job, a paying job. I had a family, I still have a family, you know, that had to be, you know, and it was just another job, but it's like, people just think that, you know, they don't know the story behind it, or they don't know your views on things and so on. Now, I'm not like, you know, I mean, I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything like that. If people want, you know, if that's what they want, that's what they wanted. But personally,
yeah,
I think it was a huge mistake.
Yeah, and I think you're not on your own, Niall, in having a different view of it now than you would have had at the time, because it's a little bit like those rivers of change we referenced earlier regarding tech and art, which is, you know, so much lighter as a topic than that period of time that was so troublesome and troubling for so many people. And they're all the different cogs in the wheel of that were challenging for families that lost people that were...
I went through all that with my mother. I mean, you have boys similar age, I think, as well. I just think the effect it's had on them, I mean, it's held them back so much.
Agree.
I think we're only really seeing the effects of it now. I mean, there was 3-4 years there where their mental and physical, not physical growth, but their, you know, emotional growth was just stunted by the whole thing. I just think...
Which does affect their physical health as well, by the way. It
possibly.
does. It does, of course. They're one and the same.
I find the whole thing really, and I think we're only really... I think maybe... coming out the other side of it now, but I think it'll always have a lingering effect on that age group and how. And then, of course, as you said, my mother was in a nursing home during that time. I remember having to stand outside a window and talk to her with dementia. Like, I mean, come on.
I know.
You know?
I know.
Yeah.
I wrote a piece at the time called Window Pane in relation to a similar situation. My dad was in a care home as well, and it was a very, very challenging time at a lot of levels for me. And I just remember that I write poetry. So, you know, your art is a lovely expression for you, for your work and cathartically. And likewise, I'm a wordsmith. I need to find words and I need to put them down in a way that, you know, I need to be able to observe the problem, not be in the problem. So one of the ways I do that is get words on a page and then format them and play with them. And then it's like I've exorcised some of my pain. And Window Pane is a piece that I wrote that was really important to me at the time because it just expressed what I was feeling. Yeah. You know, and it actually pertained then to a lot of intergenerational trauma in my own paternal family as well. So it was important to me. And I think it speaks to that point about that time. We hadn't got a clue the mess we were in. No. And our children were lost. And the industry that my eldest son is in, for example, and that I'm in myself now and hoping to be more in as time goes on, acting and film, just fell off the radar. It was horrific for creatives. It was absolutely horrific, you know. And you might say, well, create something then, use this time to, but they were so hurt and traumatized by the fact that they couldn't show up doing what they loved to do, that their creativity was stunted. It was the biggest irony of our time, really, you know. So yeah, very troubled times. And so I suppose it's probably, and I was being humorous when I mentioned it because I actually thought it was a great piece of art. And I watched what I thought was a very emotionally strong position taken by, I thought you mitigated, you know, unsolicited negativity really well. But obviously I didn't, there you go, you see context. Right. I didn't, you know, you don't know what you don't know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things.
People will, you know, there are always people, the naysayers, always people that will look for a reason to, they may not have anything valuable to say, but they want to say something. They have to hear their own voice. Yeah.
Again, I mean, that's part of what I do. I deal with that every single day. Like every time I put something up, I deal with that. Like, mostly I enjoy it. I mean,
because I'm sure actually with, now that you mention it, I'm sure with other caricatures, of course, as well, if you take out a feature that maybe somebody is disgruntled by, has that ever happened in a lesser way?
I mean, at events and stuff, as I always say, people say to me, do people get offended by what you do? And the short answer is they probably do, but they don't tell me. But the thing is, you see, if you're in a room full of people, the people who want one are the ones that come over. The people who don't or who get offended just sit at the back of the room. So I would say 99% of people who come over just want you to.
Yes.
And in fact, things have changed insofar as they actually want you to do the more extreme ones now, because of this whole new TikTok thing where there's these really exaggerated ones. So if anything, it's completely changed in terms of 2 years ago, if I went to a hotel to set up for a wedding or whatever, nobody'd know what a caricature was if they were under 20, 25. And now they all know what it is because of these TikTok things. So people want to be roasted. They want the extreme ones. They want, if they sit down and they're getting it done, they want you to go as far as possible with it. So that's great.
Yeah.
And that just shows how confident they are in terms of, so no, they don't really get offended, no.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the odd couple that were dragged over and but you know from the start they didn't want to be there. And that no matter what, they're going to be offended like.
And how does it work at a wedding? So you're there for a certain couple of hours, is it?
Yeah,
maybe 2
normally the drinks reception. It's like an entertainment thing.
And who is there a list? How do people get chosen to be there within your period of time? Because you're very quick. I've seen you're so quick at draw. If you need to be, you
have to be.
Oh well, you're amazingly
That's
quick.
The big thing. I mean, I
what
think
a talent.
that's my USP, is it? Yeah. It's like, you have to be because if you think about it, you don't want to take up people's time. You want to get through as many people as possible. And believe it or not, I discovered that at the end of, like, when you're trying to pack up and get out or whatever, get home, or they're telling you need to finish up, the hotel's telling you to finish up, so you do and somebody be there and you go, I'll do one more quick one, and they'd sit down and you'd be like, I always found the last one was the best one, and I could never work out. I used to always wonder why the last one was the best one, or the last couple, and I was going, they're so much better, like, and I just churn them out, like. So I realized that it's like, it's the less you think about it, it's the more energy you put in. It's like, so it's just, so you're not holding yourself back. You're literally just going, trying to get out of there and just do it as quick as you can. So it's going, try and bring that energy into every drawing you do. Yeah. And that's what I do now. So if you overthink something, it tends to make it more kind of sluggish and, it's just not as vibrant. Whereas if you kind of like, boom, 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 just quick.
Yeah.
I've forgotten your question.
How do you choose the people that get to be lucky?
I'm going off on when I always do that. So you set up, the guests arrive in. Sometimes they need a little bit of encouragement because they don't know what you're doing. But what I usually do is, and to be honest with you, the first couples walk in and you say to them, listen, I'm doing caricatures. It's a gift from the bride and groom. Come over and get your drawing done. There'll be a queue in 5 minutes. And they don't believe. Sometimes they believe me, sometimes they don't. And they go, oh, that's brilliant. We'd love one. And that's it. It just kicks off from there.
You probably have to turn people away then at the end when your time is up, I'm sure.
My problem is the opposite. People think, oh, maybe they won't go over to you. They always come over.
Of course.
They just love them. I mean, they absolutely love them. It's the opposite. I just say to couples, you just have no idea. Everyone's going to want one. It's just like, it's not like that.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed. So I don't really have to work at it. It's brilliant. They just come over.
Of course.
If you're there, you're next. If you're there, you're next. Yeah.
Weddings are quite like a fun fair nowadays, aren't they? I mean, back in our day, I know I got married a very long time ago, and it was very, very plain and simple. You had your meal, and I don't think there were any gimmicks or gadgets. You had a little something on the table for everybody going away, and that was the holy all of it.
I think we had a band.
We had a band and a disco. You're right. A disco. And you chose your song, your first dance song. It was all very simple.
Yeah, that was a disaster, by the way. My wife will kill me for telling the story, but the first, so it was just so typical. She said, you picked the first song. And of course, it was all I had to do, and I didn't. And so we said we'd leave it to the band. And why on earth they ever played Sorry by Tracy Chapman, I'll never know.
Oh my God, I'm sick for you.
I swear to God, my wife still talks about that to this day.
Oh, I'm on her side.
Sorry. Do you remember that song?
Yes.
They sang Sorry by Tracy Chapman as their first song.
I hope you didn't pay them.
Oh my God. And we just two of us are there like, why? And she goes, you were meant to organise it. I was like, okay.
Oh,
yeah. Stop. That was my contribution to the wedding.
Oh my God. Sick for your mother for having you.
Yeah.
What about the band then? Because they play a slow set as well in our day. So had you chosen a song that the band would play as your first dance? You can't remember?
I don't remember anything of it. No, I don't.
No,
my wedding's a bit of a blur.
Well, the funny thing is, they were quite simple events in those days, and usually, with no offence intended, the girl did most of the planning. Like, we live in a different era now, and I love to see it. Men are as interested in the optics of these events as girls are, and they're equally as interested in...
Are they?
Well, maybe not. I see it though. I'm absolutely delighted to see. I saw a group of men in Dundalk with their pushchairs. A couple of weeks ago, I was coming out at Lidl in Dundalk, and I was sitting in traffic for ages, and I saw 3 men quite close together, and another man further on up with a dog. He was obviously away because on his buggy he was taking the dog for a walk as well. And the boys were off out with their buggies, and they were chatting to each other, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is like another era, you know. And that's not to suggest that our men folk at the time wouldn't have done it. It just wasn't the done thing, you know. And equally weddings, you know, women would plan the weddings and there would be no offence taken. That's how I remember it anyway. Whereas nowadays, I think it's a very... it's a bit like our, you know, medical practice is kind of shared care, you know, it's everybody's...
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Because I was useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. But mind you, I'm still here and
I think, you know, another thing we chatted about briefly the other day was because we were being a little bit tongue-in-cheek and facetious, but nonetheless blessed to both be with our partners of whatever length of time. And I said to you, however, I'm, you know, in the interest of radical self-honesty, I would also say I'm probably with my 3rd husband in my first marriage.
Yeah.
Now, he might likely say something totally different, you know, but I think we grow and develop over the years as well. When you're in a partnership forever that has started when you were very young, there's absolutely no way by the time you have the children reared and you've gone through a business that was, you know, a plateau until it took off, and you know, then you reinvent yourself when you find yourself and kind of take your life back a little bit in your mid-years. There's no way you're the same person. So it's lovely to know that you can change and grow and evolve, and it's never too late to still be on purpose or reinvent your purpose or rewrite the blueprint of yourself. I
agree. I think, I don't know, you know, it's, so my parents separated when I was my late teens, early 20s. And actually I'm the only, so there's 4 of us. So I'm the only one actually married out of all the boys. Well, one of my brothers passed away when he was 52, actually, so quite a bit younger than me. And then my other brother, Brian, he isn't married. And then I have an older brother, he's divorced. And my parents were separated. So marriage was really important to me. I kind of wanted to break that. I always hoped I'd break that mold.
Mm-hmm.
I was very, do you know what? I think some of it is luck, to be honest with you. I think it's not all luck, but I think it's just something you have to really work at, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's communication is the big thing.
It is.
I think people go sometimes into marriage, and I think some people just unfortunately marry the wrong people.
Yeah.
I won't say I've seen it. Of course, I have seen it. I mean, even on the day of certain people's weddings, you're kind of wondering about the compatibility between people. And I know that's probably shouldn't say that, but you know, you can kind of see certain signs that don't look great from the start. So I think I was just really lucky, because my God, she puts up with a hell of a lot. Like seriously, could have easily married. Thank God I didn't marry somebody like me, because if I did, we'd be divorced by now. She's just solid. Do you know what I mean? She just keeps me grounded, and she'll kill me for saying this, but she's just been my rock. Like she's just so solid to the point where it drives me mad at times, and you know, it can come across as like, you know, but she's just solid. Whereas I'm just a disaster. Like I really am. I'm flaky. But she's always been kind of keeping me grounded, keeping me solid and stuff and so on. So that's been really important. So I married the right person.
Yeah. What a gorgeous thing to be able to say.
Yeah. And I'm lucky that way.
Yeah.
That's not saying she doesn't drive me mad. She drives me absolutely ballistic.
Yeah.
But I drive her ballistic.
Yeah, but it's lovely though.
So.
And it's tongue in cheek. I know that. But the point is
Really.
But it's to me, to all intents and purposes, that's actually like, you know, renewing your vows nearly, to be able to say that in a public facing way. You wouldn't say it if you couldn't say it to her personally. You wouldn't say it if it was the first time saying it in a space like this. And I think that speaks to the fact that you guys are clearly with your second or third iteration of each other in your first marriage. And some people, you know, like, as you suggested, some people decide maybe for the wrong reasons that to break the cycle, they will stick this out.
Yeah.
And in the heuristics of it, they may not know what the end result will be, but they will, they might decide, well, this is cheaper than a divorce. Let's go on this holiday and that holiday and do this and that to buffer the edges. But I think
kids mask a lot, don't they? I mean, because there's a whole section there we spoke about earlier between 30 and whatever, and those 10, 15 years where you're almost like passing ships, really, aren't you? Because the kids are just taking over everything. Mm-hmm. So there's that constant distraction.
Yeah.
And when you come out of that phase and the kids start getting older, I think then there's another test, isn't there? Almost like, because now it's just, you're almost back to the two of you again.
Yeah.
I think we're all right.
That's the beautiful part of it, though. I think that's so special, Niall, to get to that part, because then you look to each other, and this is where you then become second or third partners still in your first relationship, or beyond, fourth, fifth partners, who cares? Perhaps every decade, realise, without the drama or the optics of renewing vows, unless one chooses to, but I don't think there's any need to. I think it's just that closeness, togetherness, sharing, asking the right questions. I remember a long time ago, it was very cliche to say, oh, I hate date night. So date night came on stream as an idea, and then people, it was, cooler to say, oh, I hate the concept of date night. And I actually love the concept of date night. So whether it's at home or in a restaurant, or even with other couples, so it doesn't have to be the one-to-one date night. Yeah. Genuinely having a night or an afternoon or a breakfast, but with your partner or other couples as well that you're close to, where you'll talk togetherness and couple power. There's a lot to be said for it, where you actually sit opposite somebody, catch their gaze, nervous systems sync and link, and you talk about the things like your children and the issues in a very psychologically safe way. I actually think they're the date nights or breakfasts or lunches or after that keep us strong and enduring a lifetime together. Because if you put everything into your backpack and don't talk about it and keep your powder dry, as we would have been reared on, and keep your counsel, all of those things, that's so unhealthy. It's quite crippling to your heart health, metaphorically and physically. But if you can talk, I think you stand a very good chance of spending a really healthy, happy, wholesome life together.
She can certainly talk.
Can she talk?
Oh my God. Yeah, she can talk.
Yeah, and asking the right questions.
She likes talking.
Yeah.
And I like listening.
And so without getting too personal or private about it, but just in general, if people can ask each other, how are you feeling? What was going on for you this week? Because we're in and out, exactly as you say, we're in and out of the same house, but you don't necessarily get to talk until you sit together on the Friday night or the Saturday night and actually not shoulder to shoulder. I think that's great as well. I do talk about this quite often, but I think sitting opposite somebody is where it all happens, and catching somebody's gaze and then noticing to stick with them and hold space until they say, well, how are you? What went on for you this week? And give somebody the chance to literally say, well, do you know what actually happened on Tuesday? And talk and offload, and then offer advice if advice is needed or required. Sometimes it's not required, and sometimes it's not even wanted, But I think that's actually the longevity of a healthy, wholesome relationship.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So tell me this then. What is next for the Doodle King? What are you going to do next? You're going to continue showing up at events because you love the interactivity of that. You're going to do more painting.
So I was meant to have an exhibition this year to mark 25 years. That didn't happen because I was too busy. I couldn't get it together. So I plan on doing that. So be it a book. There's no money in books, by the way, as people who write books know, unless you're whatever. But the book would be done. It would be like a coffee table thing of all my work, kind of my favorite pieces over the last 25 years and stuff. So the work is there, so I don't have to do it. I just have to write a piece on each one. So an exhibition is definitely coming up because I haven't done an exhibition in years. I think it's nearly 15 years since I did the last exhibition. So just to get my work together and to do something like that would be a goal. I was meant to do it this year, as I said, it just didn't happen. Keep saying it'll happen next year. Probably won't. It'll probably be 30-year anniversary book. So that's something that I really would like to do. So I could put all the stuff into the paintings, the different things, and so on and so on. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it's just going to be pretty much the same for the next couple of years. Events, weddings, commissions, all that kind of stuff. So
keeping your hand in.
Yeah.
And with the lovely added interest of having your son working with you now, that's absolutely fabulous.
He's just going to take over the business.
He's going to take over. Well, listen, if there's nothing...
throw me out on the street.
Are the other three artistic?
The 22-year-old, no. He works in the airport. He's no interest in art. The 20-year-old, I don't think so. He's good at art, but he just doesn't... I don't think it's what he's going to do. And the 15-year-old, he's an absolute lunatic, by the way. He's my baby. Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly. Very like me. Very talented. The teachers have started to pick up on it. He's kind of bitch, he's like fights with his art teachers because he wants to do his own thing, but I can see it already, like he's really good. Like,
isn't it gorgeous?
Potentially with him, yeah.
Yeah, lovely when you see that coming down through the DNA.
Yeah.
Where did it come in your DNA and your lineage?
That's the weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a cousin who's a fantastic photographer. I have an uncle who paints. But my parents, no, it didn't come from my parents at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. They couldn't draw at all, like nothing. So it was, there's people on each side of the family that are creative, but nothing in particular.
Yeah.
No. So it was a weird one.
Yeah.
Like it was a weird one. It was just kind of picked me out kind of thing.
Gorgeous. Lovely to get that baton from soul school before you come into. It's gorgeous. And then, the relay race of life, handing it to your different sons, and they can see what you're doing with it. That gives them options. But they're in a world of technology. You'd never know where they'd take it. It's fantastic.
A weird one. I've never understood how or why. It was just one of those weird things. Like I was just, as I said to you at the start, like I was just that kid who could always draw. Like and it was just
It's such I love that part of the story, because I love the fact that there was a strong vulnerability in the share of, but it was very respectfully done, because we don't want to give anybody a bum steer either. I mean, we need to go to school. That model hasn't been trumped by AI. Like, we need to show up at school. But to be able to say from a very successful vantage point later in life, look, that model wasn't for me, but look what I've done. But I had to work hard to do it. That's what I heard from that story.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think even my lads, one of my older lads, I think that the way school is taught obviously doesn't appeal necessarily to creatives, but you can understand why, because you've got to do a broad appeal and do a bit of everything. So I can see why creative people get their backs up in terms of, well, it doesn't suit me and it doesn't suit that. But I agree that you need to learn a little bit of everything. I still think there could be tweaks made. Yeah. But I get it. Yeah. I get why you need to go to school. And I think, but I think after school, I think, yourself, like, I think, to be honest with you, I think reading's the most important thing. I still think it. And I heard on the radio on the way in, but kids aren't reading much anymore, which I find really troublesome, because out of all my kids, the ones who read, I mean, even my 15-year-old, like, he's so articulate. So articulate. The words he uses, like, would shock you. Yes. He gets them from books because he reads. Yeah. Like, just the way he speaks, like, it's just because he's not particularly brilliant in school either. He's like me. He was a bit of a dosser. He loves doodling and stuff. But the way his English, his grasp of English, because he reads. Yeah. Like, he understands words. He understands the meaning. There's all of that from the academic perspective, and having something to say for yourself, and knowing how to go and research things. And research is me search. You might research things that are helpful to your mental and physical health going forward. But more importantly, I think it opens up so many doors and so many opportunities for people when they can research perhaps a job that they might go into, or when they know how to manage their downtime, lifting up a book. It's so helpful to know that you can sit down and do no thing. Yeah. Reading a book, and managing the sitting with that, holding space with that. So we scroll so quickly now that our brains have got used to this quick fix, and it's the dopamine collision of that for our brains can be somewhat mitigated, I think, by being able to just sit, hold a book, turn the pages, read slowly, read every word. Because one of the trip hazards of nowadays and speed reading is
that you start at the top of a page, but you can't just slowly go left to right down every word. We've got out of the habit of that.
Yeah.
So it's a fabulous, basic, but very efficacious skill with so many benefits, not least that you can look things up, not least that you can sit in your own company and read, and also read just to escape, read fiction. I think it's really important. And definitely the old adage of readers make leaders, it's, it has stood the test of time, I think,
Sure.
to be true. Yeah, to be true. So Niall, we could talk all day. I have absolutely loved our conversation. Thank you for the share. Some of my golden nuggets are that moment when you were brave enough in your young married days with a baby on the way
Stupid
to
enough.
say, well, I have a similar story in my own life as well. My husband went back to college when baby number 1 was just born. And it wasn't in any way, I wasn't in any way nervous about it, but I was certainly a little bit worried about the finance of it. So I understand that. So for me, that's a very important share for the world to just tap into. If you have a fire in your belly, don't ignore it. Talk about it and maybe explore it. Bring the passion and the plan to the table at least and see where it goes.
For sure.
And another nugget for me then is in your mid-years, how you've taken on your physical health, your emotional fitness and your mental health as one. And without a huge effort, without a huge, time investment, I think you're showing up for yourself in a different way. And I think you're reaping the rewards of that. Would I be right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I'd love if people were listening that they can just, tap into that in whatever way it's relative to them. And remember that, like sometimes, for example, even, different presentations in our body that we're nearly afraid to talk about as we get older because we're afraid, God, am I a bit broken? Am I, am I not?
Sure.
Yeah. Is this it? Am I on the way downhill at this stage? Not at all.
No, I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Huge thing, because you can just kind of give up a little bit, kind of think, I'm just getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge thing.
And if
not necessarily art related, but yeah, I mean, you're right. It has been a huge thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, because if you look at your physical health, your mental health, you go to the gym, you're mixing with other people, you're just becoming aware of the optics of you, but you feel lighter and brighter in yourself. So that you're going to bring that to your art, and bring it to whatever
Possibly.
is. Yeah, for sure. A lighter, happier, sort of reinvented version of yourself.
Happier, grumpier. I have a present for you, by the way, and I was told to give it to you before we finish up, and I know we're nearly finishing up now, so the lads wanted me to give it to you live.
Oh my goodness.
See, the problem with doing this is now you could hate this.
I doubt that very much.
Like,
I absolutely love your work, and you know that.
Yeah, but you could hate this. Anyway.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Will I present it to you?
Oh, please do.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So it's framed and all.
Oh my goodness, Niall.
So there's the back of it.
Yes.
Okay, you ready?
The big reveal.
Now.
Oh my God. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh my goodness.
That's for you.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Well, you have to say that, don't you?
No, I don't have to say that.
No, I know
but
you don't.
I absolutely love it. Niall, you're a genius. Wowee, nice and nipped. I don't need the gym with a figure like that. You are amazing. I can't thank you enough. It's been a really
you're welcome.
important conversation at so many levels. Your work is fabulous. It speaks for itself.
I've been practicing.
For a lifetime. And you will go on to do more wonderful things. And I hope we can chat again. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And there you have it. A man whose artistry has not only captured the essence of Ireland's spirit, but has also inspired countless individuals to embrace their own creative journeys. Niall O Loughlin's evolution from renowned caricaturist to a beacon of personal transformation underscores a universal truth. It's never too late to reclaim well-being and purpose. In the tapestry of life, there comes a moment for all of us when the threads of ambition and health intertwine, urging a re-evaluation of priorities. For Niall, that moment arrived after decades of dedication to his craft, recognising the subtle shifts of his mid-years on his mood and sense of self, and he chose to pivot not just in his career, but in his lifestyle. This journey that we're all on can't merely be about adding more years to our lives. Rather, it's surely about infusing more life into those years. It's about embracing vitality, the generous present moment, and our natural inclination towards homeostasis, or balance. So, this week's task is intended to shine a light on the natural hormonal shifts that so many men experience, particularly at a certain juncture in their lives, often quietly as they move through midlife and beyond. Let's hold space for the reality that feeling flat, tired, irritable, reduced libido, or just a little bit out of sync, experiencing brain fog, for example, that isn't failure or frailty. It's very often the body's gentle way of saying, slow down, recalibrate, and realign. So we're hanging this week's task on the acronym andropause. A reminder that, like any life transition, it's not an ending, but an invitation, a chance to restore energy, purpose, and equilibrium. Andropause. A. Activity. Move your body regularly. It's one of the best natural mood lifters there is. N. Nutrition. Choose real, balanced foods that fuel both body and brain. Feed those belly bugs. D. Detox. Cut back on what dulls your spark, especially excess alcohol or stress. R. Recovery. Inform yourself about the science of sleep. It's quite the elixir. When you sleep well, you rest deeply and you give your nervous system time to reset. O. Optimism. Maintain perspective. Midlife can be the most creative chapter yet. P. Purpose. Reconnect with what excites you and gives your days direction. Pan for gold. Set goals that are positive, achievable, and needs-based. A. Attention. Quality exchange of attention is the meeting of a basic emotional need healthily. Where are your relationships at? It does no harm to do that emotional needs audit at different stages in your life. U. Understanding. Learn about the changes that are happening in your body and talk about them. S. Socialise. Stay connected. Friendship and laughter are powerful medicine. E. Empowerment. Take ownership of your well-being, one mindful step at a time. And remember, gentlemen, Alzheimer's and dementia are not diseases of latter years. They're actually diseases of the mid-years that can remain masked, veiled, or dormant as such until we're in those gentle years. So investing in the wholeness of healthy you now has to be positively correlated with reducing that trajectory towards cognitive decline and age-related malaise. So make this chapter count. Super aging starts here. And so it is.